What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Y'all know it's your boy EJ, aka Mr. Conversation. Listen, this is a new episode of this series that I'm doing where I cover people from this local area and others in their candidate journeys uh, through where they're going. So today I have Georgia Senate District 15 candidate Nia Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
All right, I'm doing really, really. Thank you very much for deciding to come on this platform. Um, as usual, first question I ask everybody that comes on here is why you? All right. Why should they vote for you for Georgia Senate District 15?
People should vote for me because I'm going to be consistent leadership. This for me is not about a title, it's very personal. It's about me giving back to a community that has shaped who I am, the person I am today. I understand the community, I understand not only our opportunities, our challenges, but the great things that we have in the community as well. And I'm here to listen to the community and to serve them because the power definitely belongs to the people.
Okay. So let's talk about you as a person, right? Before we get into policies and all this stuff, I want to talk about you as a person because I personally feel that knowing someone better, their character, their morals, their ethics, who they are, can help me make better decisions because everybody's gonna come out here and say what they want to do, right? But I want to know about you, the person. Who is Nia Williams?
Okay, so I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a proud me mom. Um, my family is originally from Union Springs, Alabama, so a rural community. My mom moved here when I was 2 years old, and so I call Columbus home. I was raised here. I got my GED when I was 16 years old. I had my first child at 17. I got married when I was 20, and so I've persevered since then. I have a master's degree now. I enjoy poetry, things like that, and I'm a community servant. I like to work in the community. I like to see what we need. I like to help people, and it's just who I am. Um, I enjoy my family, and that's really, in a nutshell, who I am.
So you say you're a Nima.
I'm a me mine, yeah.
Okay, okay.
So that's what my grandkids call me. My first grandson, who is now 7. I thought I was going to be called Gigi or something else, but his first words when he called me something was Mima, and so that's where I have been ever since.
Okay. So let's go back to the poetry, right? What type of poetry do you listen to, or do you do any yourself, or
I actually do a little poetry every now and then. I wrote something recently, but I hadn't wrote anything in years. Actually felt pretty good, you know. Usually something that I kind of, a lot of people don't even know I write poetry. It's something I kind of keep private. So
hey,
I gave you a little piece of something today, but
this is the hot seat? So we're gonna get
right, I
into
gave you a little piece of something. But I enjoy, I enjoy art. I went to Columbus High School, liberal arts. So
Shout out to the Blue Devils.
right. I love the arts. So music, theater, all kinds of arts. I love the arts.
Okay. So you got an art background, and I can kind of tell that from how I see you move out in the city and the different things that I've saw you. So that makes a lot of sense for me. So let's get into some of your background and motivation, right? So you talked about growing up here. So how did growing up in Columbus shape the way you see government and leadership today?
So, first of all, I grew up in a single parent home. But one thing I learned from my mom, I always tell people this story. I remember staying in Vista Estate off of View Vista Road, and we had a bus that used to come get us, but we had to walk to Morris Road to catch the bus. And that's how one morning it was really dark. My mom said she won't be walking down there. So she called the people at the transportation and said that we can get a bus in front of Vista Estates, right? And lo and behold, me and the rest of the community stopped walking to Morris Road, and there was a bus that picked us up in front of Mr. Estate. I was in sixth grade, and my mom showed me in sixth grade that you don't have to accept what people give you, that you can speak up for yourself. Um, But growing up here, it was a village. You know, we had recreation centers that were fully functional. We went to the YMCA. We had Midnight League. We had all kinds of different things here. People cared about one another. If crime was high, I knew nothing about it because we didn't know anything about any crime going on. We really enjoyed each other. I remember walking from one area of Columbus to another area, didn't worry about if anything was going to happen. It was real community, it was a real village. And so I feel like when I say that this community shaped me, it taught me that we pour into one another, right? We listen to one another. If one person has a problem, we all have a problem. And so that's kind of where I am now is I'm looking at my community and I'm looking at the gaps in the things that could and should be done for us. And if it's one person's problems, all of our problems, right? So somebody has to step into the position that's going to bridge the gap between the problem, the people, and get to understand what's going on.
Okay. So you led me into my next question. Let's get into some policy and issues now.
Okay.
What are the top 3 issues, right, that you feel are facing Georgia Senate District 15 right now? And before you answer that, let's talk about what you're doing in there and what is District 15? What does it encompass?
Okay. So District 15, the majority is in Muskogee County, but the other counties that it covers is Macon County, Marion County, Talbot County, Taylor County, Schley County, and Chattahoochee County.
I used to run track out there, Central Tarleton for a little bit. So
So
Marion and all that.
over there.
Yeah, they need a little help too, sometimes. That was
I actually have a community event in Buena Vista this weekend.
okay.
So yeah.
Now,
So as far as the policies, my top 3, I would say number 1 is affordable housing. And I know that has been said a lot, so it's kind of become cliche, but for me, affordable housing is deeper than just the money, right? So we talk about affordable housing, it should be also in livable conditions. So we have places that people can afford, but when they go in, there's mold and all kinds of other things that are in there and they're not in livable conditions. And so affordable housing also means that people should be able to afford the housing, right? So I think that also is a twofold into livable wages. Now, the second thing I would say, and I've heard a lot of this specifically in Columbus, is our court systems, right? Delays in court cases and court cases not being resolved. Number 3, I would say for our rural communities is going to be infrastructure and access. I have a lot of people that have reached out to me from Marion County because of water issues. So these are basic necessities. This is when I talk about quality of life. These are basic necessities that people are concerned with.
Okay, so those are the top 3. So as a founder and community organizer, how does that translate into navigating state legislature?
Well, I feel like being a founder, number 1, means having a vision, right? For you to be a founder of anything, you have to have a vision. And so being able to be a visionary allows you to be able to hear what somebody else says, see what can be implemented and put those things together. Organizing just means being able to listen to people, being able to bring people together, collaborating. All of those things is what it takes to get some legislation passed.
Okay. Now, we get to some of your critics, what they have said.
Okay.
Right? Which I've heard personally, and they say about people in your journey.
Mm-hmm.
So some say that you don't have the legislative experience. So why should voters trust you to step into a Senate role?
Well, the first thing I want to say is trust is not built on legislative experience. It's built on character. So my character will speak for itself. But when you talk about legislative experience, everybody has a day one. So no legislator walks in with legislative experience. However, I do have a master's degree in business administration. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Currently finishing up my paralegal certificate. I've worked in government. I've worked in a legal role as well as advocacy. I do a lot of studying as well as I've taken plenty of courses So I've been part of the Congressional Black Caucus Institute Boot Camp, Emerge Georgia. I just received an endorsement from the Win List, from Win Georgia Win List. So
let's talk about that endorsement real quick. What does that mean? And for a person that is not, politically savvy, what is the Win List?
So Georgia Win List is actually an organization that supports women running for legislative office, right? But they don't just endorse anyone. They do look at our background. They check to see if they feel like you're a credible candidate, if you're a candidate that will actually get into that seat and work for the people. And so by them endorsing you, that means that they feel like you are a person that has good character that will go into this seat and work like you should.
Okay. Now, what's something that you failed at politically, and what did you learn from it?
I would say my first election, right? I ran for city council in 2022, right? And I would say I did a lot better than I thought I would. But however, I was not prepared to run that race. At that time, I just felt like things needed to be done in our community, right? And somebody needed to step up. But I had no campaigning experience. I didn't have anyone teach me anything. I hadn't taken any classes. And so what it taught me is you can't just have passion. There are also things that need to funnel that passion, right? You have to be prepared. You need knowledge. You need support. You need people, right? And so from that campaign, it has really sharpened, I feel like, my knowledge in what to do with the passion.
Okay. So I'm gonna need to ask you something that might get you in a little trouble here, but we're gonna see if you're gonna answer it or not. What's one issue with your, I want to say, party, that you think that they get wrong or that they can work on something?
I would say one issue is, and it was for the party, because I feel like I am on the Democratic ballot, so let me say that I'm running as a Democrat, and as a Democrat, we have democratic values, right? And so democracy is a part of those democratic values. I feel like it's important that we make sure that people are able to see each candidate, right? They're able to see each candidate and make educated decisions for them and their household. And I think that sometimes that can be jaded by people's own personal bias or perceptions. And so I think that's something that we can improve on. I don't think that it's everyone, of course, in the party, but I do think that sometimes that's something that we don't allow, is for people to actually see all the candidates and make an educated decision for them and their household.
Okay. So when you're elected, we're hearing, what does success look like, or a positive leaning campaign look like after the first year?
So after the first year, number one, I want the people to feel like they are trusting me, right? At the end of the day, it comes down to perception. Perception is reality. So for the people of District 15, I want them to feel like at the end of my first year that we have been successful, right? That we have been able to introduce legislation, that they feel heard, and that their quality of life is better, because that's what this is all about, is improving the quality of life of the citizens of District 15.
Okay. So give me a time where you've had to handle a lot of pressure. And the reason why I'm asking you this is because your decisions will be affecting thousands and thousands of people. So I want to know, how do you handle pressure? Give me a time where you feel that you've had to handle a very stressful, high-level pressure situation.
High-level pressure situation, let me think. I would say when I worked on Fort Benning, we initially came in under one job, right? We learned the job. This is what we were hired for. And 2 weeks into the job, you're not doing that job anymore. So we want you to pivot to this other job, but you're not really going to be trained on it. You just got to hop into it, right? So that's a lot of pressure, because you're going to be graded and evaluated on a job that you haven't even been fully trained on. But for me, pressure is about pushing through, right? You have to stay focused. That's when you get tunnel vision. That's when you listen closely. That's when you lock in. And for me, it's also about I'm always learning. It doesn't have to be something that's given to me. I'm always looking for new ways to learn. So what I did was I took my own time and learned the things I need to learn to make sure I got that job done. But it was about tunnel vision. It was about making it to the finish line. And that's what it's about. It's about persistence and endurance. So
Okay. Next question. Finish this sentence. Georgia is failing. You know what? Hold on. Let me do that again.
Okay.
It was a pause and I missed it. Okay. Georgia is failing its people when it comes to blank.
quality of life. Quality of life.
And so let's retouch on how do you feel in bringing a better quality of life better? What's your points?
So my points would be, again, affordable housing and livable conditions, livable wages, access to healthcare. Even and the flip side of the healthcare is also senior care, right? We have seniors in facilities. You know, sometimes people can't take care of the seniors. Sometimes they have to be there, right? But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be taken care of. Then we get to our court systems, like I said, delayed court cases, or even after court cases, people think cases are dismissed and they're dead docketed. So they're still impacting people's lives where they're not able to get jobs, they can't get homes, and things like that. Um, like I said, Marion County, I've heard a lot of their water issues. They're boiling water. Who should have to boil water? These are basic necessities. So when I talk about quality of life, even down to our public education, have you ever, anyone in District 15 ever been sitting there and say, I want to send my child outside of the district of where you live at, right? Or the other side of town? It shouldn't be that way. Your quality of life should not depend on your zip code.
Mm-hmm. All right. What's something that people completely misunderstand about you or a misconception?
I would say that maybe I'm a little aggressive sometimes, but I think I'm just passionate when it comes to things like my community, my people, us having and us being represented. I'm very passionate about that. So if you ever think that I'm coming off aggressive, it's personal for me. It's very personal for me.
So, on that note, you have a podcast, correct?
I had a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Which one are you referring to? I had one called Evolve with Nia.
The latest one that you did an episode about a month ago or two.
Which one was that?
I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it was progressively or something.
Progressive?
Well, I know that on the first episode you were talking about that there needs to be changes.
Oh, okay, and, I did. I paused that. I did pause that, but it was really about the changes needed, and also educating the people. Because we have to educate the people. I think there's a big gap in people understanding what's going on, which is why some of the people don't come out and vote, right? Why they don't get out and go to council meetings, why they don't do things like that, because some people just don't know what the process is. And so it's not because they don't want to be involved or they don't want to know. Some people just don't know. I'm going to be completely transparent. You know, I've been in Columbus most of my life, and there was a time when I was in my early 20s, I was really oblivious to like how a lot of things were done, how to get involved, and so I know some people will say, well, you've been here for a while, why didn't you do things 20 years ago? Well, everybody I think has a growing period, right? Everybody has an awakening period. It may be a point in time where you didn't fully understand how to be involved or what could be done, right? But when they say when you know better, you do better, right? So I think that's kind of where we are now.
Okay. Now, I got one final question for you, right? Okay. Now, a lot of us, we feel, there's going to be some statements in this one too, though.
Okay.
A lot of us, we feel that our politicians are a little out of touch with either reality or with us in this community. And then accountability with reaching them becomes a very big problem. All right. We see them at photo op, but we don't see them out doing the work. Can you address that and tell us your part, because I'm letting you know, I'm gonna clip this.
Okay.
This will be clipped
Okay.
and this will be played because I want people to know so that way we can understand who you are if we put you in the seat.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm already accessible. Sometimes you see me at community events, but sometimes I'm literally behind the scenes doing things. People reach out to me right now as a non-elected official when they have a problem, when they need to be connected to resources. So I'm already accessible and it won't be any different once I'm elected to office. As far as photo ops, anybody who knows me knows I go to events all the time and my team fusses at me because I don't take photos, right? I'm in places. People don't even know I've been there because I didn't take any photos. So that's something I have to work on. So I'm definitely not going to be there for the photo op. If I'm there for whatever it's about, right? If we're feeding the homeless, I'm there to feed the homeless. If we're there for a community event, that's exactly what I'm there for. So I'm going to tell you, what you see is what you get. I'm not somebody who hides behind anything. I don't throw rocks behind my hand. And I'm going to show up for the people because I understand the people. I have not only educational experience, work experience, but I have lived experiences in this community. And I talk to people daily in this community. And I understand that it's going to take someone who, like I said, can connect the people's issues to what the policies are to actually relate and make them progressive.
All right. And I'm going to say this real quick. Today is a special day, right?
It is.
Mm-hmm. And I want you to tell everybody what today is.
Today is my birthday.
All right. It's her birthday, y'all. Give her some claps. Now that tells you something when people are willing to still come out and take the interviews and do the work even on their birthdays, man. Because I would have took off. I would have told me. I would have said, Mr. Thomas, I'll see you tomorrow. Not today.
The work doesn't stop, EJ. The work doesn't stop. The people don't stop. The needs don't stop. So.
Okay. Now, this is give me 90 seconds on why vote for you, and we call it a day.
Okay. Again, I am Alyssa Nia Williams. I'm running for Georgia Senate District 15, and you should vote for me because I will work for you. The power belongs to you, and all I want to do is connect that power to the legislation that's going to change the quality of life in District 15. I will be there for you. I'll be committed. I'll listen, and I'm going to show up for you each and every day. And that's why you should vote for me. On May 19th, and early voting starts April 27th.
All right. Y'all heard that. May 19th, y'all, and early voting starts at April 27th. We have 3 centers, City Service Center, we have Columbus Tech, and the third one, I do not know if it is still going to be, so I won't even say it, because sometimes it's sure to be, but I don't know if they're going to change that, but I do know it's going to be at the City Service Center and Columbus Tech. So y'all get out there, y'all vote. Voting is important. Don't never let anybody tell you that voting is not important, okay? Just because your candidate did not win does not mean that your vote is not important, because you have to let them know that I will not vote for you the next time either, unless you do things that are going to agree. If it was close, if you got in on the, the skin of your teeth, I got to remember I'm on the different platform right now. But all right, y'all. Hey, man, it's your boy, Mr. Conversation, and I am here with Georgia Senate District 15 candidate, Nia Williams. Y'all make sure that y'all share this, send it out, and if you decide to vote for her, let her know. All right, we out.